I don't know the exact numbers, but I feel like if you surveyed skateboarders and asked them what their favorite object to skate is, a quarter pipe or mini ramp would be pretty high up on the list. I can't speak for everyone, but it's always been a dream of mine to have a backyard ramp, and recently that dream came true when I got a small quarter pipe made by Ramptech. Now I know it's not some crazy backyard skate park, but I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I've been getting a lot of questions about it, so I decided to make a more in-depth video reviewing it so you guys can hear all of the pros and cons and decide if it's worth buying. If you have any thoughts of your own about it, go ahead and share them in the comments. Be sure to leave a like on the video, check out my gaming channel linked in the description, and with that said, let's get right into it. So first things first, let's start off with the materials. Most ramps that you can buy are made out of normal plywood, which can be fun to skate, but the problem is they aren't very weather resistant, and the wood tends to wear down or break after just a few months. The reason why I decided to go with a Ramptech quarter pipe is because it has an ABS plastic surface that's way more durable than any normal type of plywood. Now, if you watch this channel, you probably already know that I'm usually against plastic ramps, but I've skated this thing a ton, and I've yet to see the plastic take any real damage. Also, the surface of it has a grippy texture that's meant to give you more traction, so even though you're skating on plastic, it still feels more like normal plywood or masonite. The bottom of the plastic surface has a tapered edge, so there's a pretty smooth transition to it, and it doesn't need a loud piece of sheet metal, which is great for anyone out there who has neighbors that like to complain. Both the sides and the top of the quarter pipe are made with coated birch plywood, which obviously isn't weatherproof like the plastic, but they are weather resistant, and the ramp also includes a paint pen to seal any edges. Last but not least, we have the coping. The coping is just normal galvanized steel, which is pretty common on quarter pipes. I'll leave a link to their website in the description if you want to actually look into the details more, but it's a pretty simple quarter pipe, so there really isn't a lot to know. Moving on, I want to go over the build process. I've never put together a pre-made quarter pipe before, so I don't know what the process is normally like, but I will say that overall it was pretty painless. Ramptech has some really in-depth videos on their website and YouTube channel that explain in detail how to put together each one of their ramps, so to build my ramp, I just looked up the video and followed along. The video was really well made, and honestly, I kind of preferred watching a video over the traditional way of trying to follow paper instructions. Now, I didn't film any of the build process because originally I didn't plan on making a video out of it, so I'm just going to use footage I found online, but I'm assuming the process is always the same. Basically, they ship you a box filled with all of the pre-cut materials that you need to build the ramp. You do need to have your own power drill, but other than that, all of the screws and wood and everything else is included, and I even had some extra screws left over when I was done. I got the smallest quarter pipe they make, which is a 2-footer, so the fact that I was building a smaller ramp could have made things a little easier for me, but I'm assuming the process is pretty similar for all of their quarter pipes. Overall, the build process is kind of like putting together a piece of furniture, and if you watch one of their videos on it, it's pretty simple to figure out. Since all of the holes are pre-drilled and all of the wood is pre-cut, you're really just lining everything up and drilling it together. I think I assembled the entire thing by myself in about 30 minutes, and I'm really not the best when it comes to building things, so if you're an able-bodied adult, I don't think it's too hard. Up next, let's talk about the design. The Ramptech quarter pipe that I got was their 2-foot tall version, but they make a few different sizes as well as other types of ramps like ledges and kickers. Overall, the design is pretty simple, and the quarter pipe has a pretty nice shape to it. The design seems similar to a few other pre-built quarter pipes, but what sets them apart are the materials that they use, along with some other small design features that really come in handy. Since I just got it about a month ago, I got the newest version of the ramp, which apparently has a few improvements from the older one. As far as I know, the main difference is that the new one has an 18-inch deck, which makes it a little easier to do certain tricks when it's against the wall, and it also has a smoother transition on the bottom of the ramp. I think there might be some other small things that are new, but I'm pretty sure that those are the major differences. Now, I've never skated the old version, so I really can't tell you how it compares, but I will say that I haven't had any issues with the deck or the transition of the ramp. One of my favorite features is that the surface of the ramp actually has little divots that allow the screws to sink in. This prevents your wheels from getting chipped, and it also prevents you from snagging a screw if you ever fall. On the sides of the quarter pipe, they have pre-cut holes that are meant to be used as handles, and they also have wheels on the back so you can flip it up and move it around easily. I've heard of some people leaving the wheels off, but I definitely recommend taking the time to put them on, because if for whatever reason you do have to move it, it makes the whole process way easier. Now, as far as pros and cons go, just keep in mind that this is only my opinion, and you might not agree with everything I say. I'm not trying to hate on it, and I'm not trying to hype it up too much. I'm just explaining the things that I personally thought were good, and also the things that I thought could be improved. When it comes to the pros, there's a lot of things that I like. First, the assembly was pretty easy for me, and again, I'm really not the best when it comes to building things. Next, I've been really impressed with how durable the ramp is. I feel like I've given it a pretty good beating, but it really hasn't gotten damaged. This was one of my fears with pre-made ramps, because a lot of them are known for being cheaply built, and I didn't want a ramp that was going to break after a few months. The next thing I really like is that it has handles and wheels on it, because it tends to rain a lot where I live, and this allows me to push it into my garage when I'm done skating. Next, we have the surface of the ramp. As I mentioned earlier, all of the screws on the front of the ramp sink into the surface, so you don't have to worry about snagging them if you fall, which to me is a really nice detail to have. Another pro is that Ramptech is actually skater owned, and I always try to support skater owned companies when I can. I know this might not matter to some people, but when it comes to actual skate products, I feel like buying skater owned is always the better option. The last pro that I want to mention is that the ramp is actually pretty heavy, which I know some people might not like, but I feel like it makes it less likely to slide around when you're skating it, so I definitely consider it a plus. Moving on to the cons, there's not a lot that I would change. One thing I will say is that I wish they would paint seal the edges of the quarter pipe before sending it to you, rather than having you do it with a pen, but I tend to leave mine in my garage anyway, so that really hasn't been too much of a problem. In the future, it'd also be great if they made steeper options for people who prefer steeper ramps. Mellow ramps can be a lot of fun, and they're great for learning tricks, but I also like skating steep quarter pipes, and it could be cool to have one steep one and one mellow one. Aside from that, I also wish I would have gotten the wider version, or at least two of the smaller ones. As of now, I basically just throw down to skate the quarter pipe, and it'd be nice if I could at least grind for a while, or have another quarter pipe to hit afterwards, but that's not really a problem with the quarter pipe itself, and it's really just my fault for not getting a different model. As far as whether or not it's worth the money, I think that for most people it is. Some people might think that it's a little expensive, but to me, it's not really worth it to take the time to drive to the store to buy the supplies, try to cut everything properly, and assemble everything from scratch. Not to mention, lumber prices are currently at a historic high, so it just doesn't really make sense to build one yourself. For me, it's worth the money to know that everything is pre-cut and ready to be assembled, and even if you're okay with paying a lot of money for wood right now, I doubt you'll be able to find the same type of plastic surface at any normal store. I know there's cheaper ramps for sale online, but if you take the time to look through the reviews, you'll see that the only people who like them are the parents who don't know any better, and every real skater who leaves a review is bummed about them breaking. Now, I don't want to oversell the ramp because in all honesty, it's really just a simple quarter pipe. With that said, I'm really excited to have something to skate in my backyard, and if you're looking for a backyard ramp, then I definitely recommend it. Even though the ramp I got is pretty small, I still feel like it's good for any skill level because it can help you practice and learn tricks before trying them on something bigger, but like I said, they also have larger ramps as well. If you guys have any of your own backyard ramps, then let me know what you think about them, because so far I've been having a ton of fun skating my quarter pipe. I know this video is a little different from what I normally post, so if you guys want to see more videos like it, then let me know in the comments because I'm definitely down to make more. If you made it this far, be sure to leave a like on the video, check out my gaming channel linked in the description, and with that said, thanks for watching.